Good evening. Welcome to the Livonia Public Schools Board of Education meeting of April 13th, 2026. See here, tonight's meeting is a committee of the whole meeting, and by that, if you're listening in or if you're in attendance this evening, you will hear a lot of discussion about various items that are coming before the Board of Education. A lot of question and answer, a lot of discussion. However, we will not be voting on anything this evening. Anything that's determined that the board is ready to vote on will be taken to the next general meeting, or voting meeting as it's commonly called, and we'll take votes at that time. If you'd like to have an agenda, if you're here in person, they are out the door to my left. They're on a table out there. You can help yourself. If you're watching from home and you'd like the agenda, you can look at our website, which is at livoniapublicschools.org. If you hover over the board tab and drop down to board meeting information, you'll find our agenda. In that spot also, you'll find video links for our previous meetings and our upcoming schedule of meetings. So feel free to utilize any of those that you'd like. One characteristic that we teach our children every day is that of respect. That is taught preschool through post-secondary, all the way through. You have the word of this Board of Education that we will treat everyone who is coming before the board this evening and one another with respect, and we ask that everyone who is present this evening do the same. We're going to dive into our agenda this evening. We have several items to take care of. The first item is audience communications. I do not have any blue slips. Would anyone in the audience like to participate in audience communications? No. Seeing shaking of heads, no? All righty. We're going to move on to item number 2, Committee of the Whole, and the first item is upcoming communications recognitions. And we'll hear from Mrs. Jenkins.
Thank you, President Burton. Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a quick preview. Our Point of Pride recognition for next Monday night's regular board meeting will be a recognition of the Livonia United girls high school hockey team. They
exciting.
won last month. They won the state championship. Broke every record in the history of the team forming. So it'll be a great night. Recognizing the girls, and we've got all the coaches coming, and it should be awesome.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll look forward to it.
Yes. Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is item 2B, which is the board meeting calendar. Mrs. Opus, did you want to handle that, or would you rather
I sure will, yes.
Okay.
I'd be happy to, President Burton. We just wanted to confirm that the changes we discussed at the study session for May will change our regular meeting from Monday, May 18th to Tuesday, May 26th. So that will be our regular meeting. Our study session and committee of the whole will remain the same, but we did have some conflicts with the week of May 18th. So that regular meeting will be the day after Memorial Day. In June, we will also be changing we will be moving up the entire meeting schedule. There will be a study session on June 1st, a committee of the whole meeting on June 8th, and a regular meeting on June 15th. So Mrs. Junta has put together a draft of that meeting schedule, and I will bring that to next week's regular meeting to vote on the change for the 2 regular meetings. Okay. And then we should be good to go.
All righty. And is everyone still in agreement that those dates are okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. And just as a note, that May 26th is a Tuesday meeting. That's not typical for our board, but thank you to my colleagues for having flexibility to do that so we can accommodate most, if not all of us on our meeting nights. All righty. So that will go on the agenda for a vote next week.
Yes.
Next item up is item 3, operations, and I will turn it over to Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, President Burton. We have a number of items. Let me get and the first we have is 3A, the resolution for LPS Stormwater Program. We have the esteemed Mr. Green with us this evening.
Well, thank you very much. 11 items last month, only 4 this month. But, you know, like we find each month, they're such interesting topics. And, you know, being new to the role this year, I really enjoyed these 4 topics, one of which is pretty familiar, but the other two of them are new topics for us. And as you saw in my memo and company materials this week, we are going to be bringing forth a resolution to the Board of Education next week for LPS Stormwater Program. This is something that we've done in the past, and it's something that our environmental group, Arch Environmental, works through all the details with Harry Lau's office to make sure that any stormwater usage on our property is being handled accordingly to the Eagle standards. Eagle was formerly known as MDEQ. There was a name change a couple years ago. And so part of the requirement of the law is Arch Environmental creates a resolution for us which satisfies a large portion of that renewal. And so that'll be what's in your packet tonight that I'll be asking you to review and approve next week. We did run that resolution, even though we've had a great partnership with Arch Environmental. We do run that anytime we have a resolution from a third party. We do run that through our legal to make sure their lens is on it and to make sure there's no language in there that we could potentially be harm to the district. And we feel very confident on that. So that would be an item I'd like to bring next week. And how that plays out in our schools is Mr. Lau's office works with our building supervisors. Sometimes you'll see literature hanging in our buildings as far as how to handle stormwater waste. If you grew up in the 70s like I did, sometimes you'd see car washes everywhere. Not so easy to do anymore because of what's rinsing into our stormwater basins. So this is something that we've done in the past. It's time to renew that, and hopefully the materials that were included in your memo, with your memo this week, gave you the information you needed to support this resolution to bring to the board next week.
Questions?
No.
I have one, Mr. Green. And if I go down to like the 8th, whereas I think it's the 8th and 9th.
We're looking at the resolution itself?
Yes.
Okay.
Where it says, whereas Livonia Public Schools agrees to prohibit the discharge of non-stormwater discharges into the storm drain system, including but not limited to pollutants or waters containing any pollutants. But then the next sentence, the way I read it, it almost implies like we're allowing that now. The way I read it, it says, whereas Livonia Public Schools agrees to eliminate illicit discharges and illicit connections. And I just, when I read that,
Confusing.
I said it almost sounds like we're doing it, we're going to stop doing it.
Well, I understand why that could look a little bit like it's something we're doing, we're promising to stop, but as I said, this is a renewal. This language looked familiar to the one the board looked at
Okay.
about 4 years ago. One of the things that's important on that second whereas is there's constant new updates from Eagle, whether we've talked about Eagle and the drinking water
Right.
program. And so I think part of that is to emphasize the continuing education that needs to take place from Mr. Lau's office and our building supervisor. So something 4 years ago that was permitted, there may be updates now to the
That's not
manuals and
permitted
to the processes.
Okay.
That's, when I looked at it, that's what I was thinking, but I can definitely get some more information on that for you.
Okay, no, that makes sense now that you explain it that way, that there may be some changes in the regulations. And what we were doing previously may have been okay, but now under the new rules,
Absolutely.
it may be prohibited,
Yeah,
so.
parts
okay.
per million of water is another example. Like 10 years ago, the standard was here, now it's even more stringent in our water
Okay.
program, so things like that.
Okay, all right, that explains it, thank you. Okay. Let's see, we've started.
We started,
We
yeah.
started a trend. Mrs. Frank?
Yes, just, who in the district is responsible? I mean, I know you, but who updates our policy, not policies, but monitors this and knows when the changes are coming? I mean,
Yeah, that's Mr. Lau,
He-
Gary Lau.
all
Yes.
of these
Yeah.
himself? Okay.
Absolutely, his office is, basically, if you think of anything environmental, that would be coming out of Mr. Lau's office.
Okay.
Okay, President Burton.
Back to the item that you were questioning, Mr. Johnson, could we just replace the word eliminate with prohibit? Or is this language that specifically, that we have to use this
Yeah,
specific
this
language?
is the language that, because we pay Arch Environmental to be our advocate for environmental issues, this is the language they provided for us. We did do a review with Clark Hill, just to make sure, our attorney, just to make sure it was okay with them. So I would feel uncomfortable changing any words on this unless I reached out to them requesting it. Does that make sense?
Yep, that's
Okay.
fine then.
Yep.
Okay, anything else? Okay, so that'll go on for
Next week.
next week.
Next week, here it is.
All right, then we'll go to B, the quarterly dashboard.
Oh, it's your favorite, Fred.
Oh, yes.
Consent agenda item, the previous one, since we do it regularly. Yes.
Yes. Speaking with Superintendent Oquist, can we make that a consent agenda item, that last topic?
Is everyone fine with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, the quarters roll around, don't they? And I have Mr. Weber from Plant Moran and Real Point here to speak to us again on our quarterly dashboard with our latest and greatest updates. I would like to thank Emily back in the control tower for putting this on the screen for our viewers at home, and you should all have a hard copy that Mr. Weber provided. Mr. Weber, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. As our typical protocol, I will review here some financial updates for the bond program, some critical activities and upcoming work, and reach out or ask any questions as I go along as needed. So I'll start with our cost summary table here, without going through every line item, just a refresh of each column. Column A is the current budget, so if you follow that down, we're at $192 million and some change. That is the $186 million originally approved for the bond, and then additional $6+ million in earned interest. So a good amount of money we've leveraged to put back into the building, so understanding the overall total for that budget line. Column B is the current contracts and purchase orders. So these are contracts, purchase orders that have been signed, executed, and are being billed against. That brings us to column C for actuals paid. Those are the dollars against the values in column B that have been paid and sent to vendors and contractors. Column D is the remaining cost to complete, so that's just the math between columns B and C of what remains on those contracts and purchase orders. Column E is our forecasted contracts and purchase orders. So anything remaining in the program, we like to allocate that, understanding we're looking ahead of any potential commitments. We forecast those in that column. And then our columns F and G, we're just looking for any plus and minus across each line item. As you can see, they're all zeros there, so we're tying out and balanced out for what's going on right now. I will bring attention to, if you followed to the bottom row, the contingency line item. This is a little different from our last update. We reeled that into a $0 contingency. That's usually our cushion. Moving along throughout the program, we use that as there's ebbs and flows in the program. It was decided in meetings a couple weeks ago that we did have money there. We shifted it to earmark for mobile devices in the technology budget. So the money didn't go anywhere. It's not committed to anything, but looking through priorities of what the needs are in the district, we didn't want to leave it hanging out there as though there was money without any need for it. Priority being understanding that there's always a continual need. We've always set aside money for those Chromebooks and mobile devices. So like I said, it's sitting in technology. It's not committed. If there's any issues that come up that become priority, we can always reel that back out into a contingency, but wanted to put it there for now as the identified need for that money.
And you're talking about for the 26, 27, and 27, 28 school year?
That is correct.
Because we do not have any other bond projects, but that would allow us to continue the device replacement for
That is
those
correct.
next 2 years.
Yep, to keep on schedule,
Yeah.
correct. Any questions on the first table? Tying out with the cash flow finances below, this is the same numbers, just understanding what's left in the bank right now. We've sold all 3 series for the bond, so we're in good shape financially. There's plenty of dollars sitting there for available to pay bills as necessary is the main purpose of showing our cash flow finances. Moving now down left to critical items, we continue to monitor the workplace, the environment, the construction is still busy in the community right now in the local area, so we've done a good job of hitting those bid cycles. We continue to do it with any remaining technology bids, but it's just one of those things we keep an eye on with the economy right now and any effects to the supply chain. Continue to work through any remaining classroom air conditioning issues. We actually had teams out a few weeks ago to tackle the open items that were identified last summer, so we're sitting in a good spot there was some corrective work done over holiday break, Christmas break. Some of the stuff was weather sensitive. They were able to get in there in the last couple weeks and do that work, so we're sitting in a good position as rolled into the air conditioning season, so.
Today was almost a test.
Yes.
It got
Yes.
pretty warm.
Yep. And then the biggest 2 things are we're maintaining our procurement and construction schedule. We do have crews that have mobilized to a couple sites. We have Webster ongoing right now. The library's getting demolished. Garfield has a little bit of work going. And then Nijik Euro, we have some off hours work going too. So all good news right now. We're in a good spot and hit the ground running, and the team's ready to go for a couple weeks from now when we really get going when school is out.
Were there any questions? I do want to give a shout out to Brian and his work with PMR, because We are really hitting our benchmarks for the spring, like Brian said, and making sure that that work that we had met with the board on when we visited some of our point of pride locations, said we need to get this still finished at this site or that site. So if you went to Churchill now, you've seen those pieces of work done, the lighting over at Buchanan. So I think it's an example of his advocacy and working with Mr. Lau and Mr. Roberts to make sure we close the loop on all those projects. So
Yeah,
Thank
spring
you.
break was busy around here.
it was very busy.
Yep. And one final item, there's a lot of technology improvements going on right now, so that's something we're keeping an eye on to coordinate. It's a separate crew from the construction crew, it's different vendors procured separately. So we have a lot of security upgrades going on now, the Wi-Fi upgrades, card readers, so a lot of good work going on with technology as well, infrastructure upgrades in the district, so all good news.
Any questions? President Burton?
This is a bit of a tangent, but I was asked just today about the progress of Marshall's demolition coming down. What is the latest on that?
Yes, we had, DTE was out today, so did some electrical severing over there, so that was a big step. We're meeting with the city on some water main pieces, more water main to come for those in the crowd in a little bit. And that's getting closed up, and we are looking at the next couple weeks really making a big push. The asbestos and abatement, the
all done.
abatement part is all done and completed, so good progress. We, couple of little modifications, we're gonna keep a couple parking spots over by the playground equipment that was originally not going to be kept, but because that was able to be preserved, we were able to do that. So there's been a couple tweaks to the overall plan, but pretty darn good progress. Ms. Jenkins could speak more on if we've heard a lot from the community, but we have really not. I actually had, just as a side note, because we did a pretty big mailing, if you recall, and somebody that lives, that I know on the other side of 6 Mile, more towards former Cass Elementary, was walking their dog and said, "What's going on?" And their kids have long since left Livonia Public Schools, and I explained, they go, "This is the best decision. My dogs are gonna love this extra." Okay.
Well,
We'll be calling you for a video, to make a video, so,
We aim to please all.
yes, we do.
I think
so.
we're looking by the end of May, everything
Yeah.
should be,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, everything should be
Yeah.
down.
Excellent.
So,
Yep.
And I did in that same conversation with the neighbor right in that area, heard again from their little ones, "We're so happy that the playground is gonna stay there." They were concerned about that. That was the big question. I was able to tell it's gonna stay, and they were really, really excited about that. So
Good.
thank you again to those who got involved quickly and were able to salvage that.
Any other questions? Mrs. Frank?
Just because we're talking about the dashboard and just all the stuff going on, how are the card readers going in the installation, the new card readers? Is it the progress going as expected?
Yes, everything so far so good.
Okay.
They actually had to pump the brakes a little bit just to make sure everything was functioning and not get ahead of themselves. So, no, all good things with all the IT initiatives. Knock on wood, parts are still available, and we haven't had any
And
delays
so
in
they're
that either.
transitioning like in the middle of they're
Yeah.
not waiting
Yep.
till.
Yeah, so
fall.
Kennedy was one of our first to get the new door access system, and it's gone really well. And with that, there's a lot of coordination between departments for permissions and things like that. That happens to the IT department as well. And then Rosedale with the classroom audio, and then depending on the way the building was designed, how they can turn it over into the PA system. It might be within that project, or they may be doing the classroom audios and looping back around. And Mr. Clan's created this wonderful matrix for Ms. Keats, Mr. Etu, myself, and Ms. Oquest to show like each of those little pieces, where are they at? And then Chromebook deployment, which we talked about earlier, is very successful. People love their new Chromebooks.
yeah.
Good.
And, I will say that Mr. Clan has been extraordinarily on-site and assisting.
Yes.
I had a staff member say that they were doing the changeover for the security codes, and their badge wasn't working, and within 3 hours, he had it updated and was working. And so I know he's continuously out there communicating and problem-solving, which we certainly appreciate.
Outstanding. Anything else? Nothing on this? All right. Moving right along. We'll go to item 3C, the water main agreements for LCTC and ECC. Mr. Green.
Yes, typically at this time of year, I was very jealous when Miss Keats was able to do the school of choice the other day lottery. I am still talking a lot about water mains in my new role. And I feel the earth move under my feet. Carole King comes to mind, and this is the water main time of year. Obviously, with Brian at Plant Moran and Colin, we've been working on our sinking fund projects for this upcoming summer. We've already spoken to you about the central office paving project. And this was one that we really took our time on, and this was the Coolidge water main. I'm sorry, am I on the wrong one? I skipped over. Save all that for the next one. Speaking of water mains, you may remember a couple of years ago, we built a new building at the Livonia Early Childhood Center and had an update to the Career Technical Center. At that time, it was decided to do a public water main, which is different that we don't have in any of our other buildings. So that what that means is basically that the city of Livonia, if there was a water main break at the Livonia Early Childhood Center or the Career Technical Center, would be the responsible party to fix those water main breaks. And there's a lot of reasons and rationale a couple of years ago to have those be public loops. They benefit the community where possible, and they're typically a partnership that the city engages on with the district for quite some time. So back at that time, those loops were made public. As part of that, there are water main agreements that we must have on file, not only at the city's office, but here at the district office, because we're allowing a third party access onto our property to do work. And so what you have in front of you tonight are the draft water main agreements between the city of Livonia and the school district. Once again, these were agreements that were back and forth for probably 5 months with the city, because city engineers design them, but we get to dictate the language. And so we had our legal write up the language for these water main agreements. And what you'll see in front of you are those agreements that we'd ask you to approve on the consent agenda item for next week. Now, what happens after that is they are then approved at the city council level, and they're scheduled for the May meeting. And so, long story short, it basically is a protection for the school district to say, because we're letting somebody else come on our property to do work, this is going to be something we want to note as far as board approval. So once upon a time, and I don't know when that time was, we did the same thing for our utilities, for our other utilities, but because we've had those other utilities for a long, long time for power lines and such, that is very similar if you were to do a comparison. And so my apologies for skipping over. I was so excited to talk about my lead on the Coolidge water main, but we would ask you to approve those so we can then talk to Mr. Zelinsik, city engineer across the street, who's been great partnership. We've had a lot of great meetings with the city on this topic and others, and we can get those approved next week.
Questions? Okay. That looks good. So we will put it on the consent.
Thank you.
Correct? Very
Okay,
good.
great.
Now, Mr.
yeah, I
Green,
can't remember what I
now we are at 3D, the Sinking Fund 2026
Yes.
Coolidge water main.
I still do care about all those things in my previous role, and I do care about this as well. And these are really interesting conversations. As I just spoke, we had public water mains at the Early Childhood Center and at the Career Technical Center. One of the things when we, Brian, he can add some details to this, when a PMR looks at what water mains are up next, Coolidge is one that was of critical need to replace. It's a private line, and it runs on the north side of the building towards, I believe, Pickford Street. Earlier in the school year, we did engage in conversations with the city of Livonia if we were be considering making that a public loop running south down the driveway of Coolidge and then connecting to the other part of the neighborhood. It would have increased the cost of the project quite a bit, but it's something that we had to really look at deeply and have several, I think 3 or 4 meetings with the city engineer team to look at it, because one of our responsibilities is also to promote our community and to provide, if possible, a way to support if they go down in one side of the neighborhood. The advantage of a public loop is we can have water still coming to the other part of the neighborhood and our schools. But when we dug into that project, at this time, we weren't planning on doing the paving at Coolidge. That would have required us to do a lot of other work on the paving there. And so I'm going to speak to the plan that we did come up with And I'm gonna have Brian go into the logistics of that, because I think we came up with a nice solution for the future.
Agree.
Yep, so we put this out, designed it two ways. Our base bid was replace one for what feeds from the north of the building with a smaller water line that, when I say smaller comparatively to the alternate that we're talking about for the city loop. Use that as our base bid to understand budgetary and understanding if there's potential to upsize. So the alternate was run the same distance from the north, set it up so there's valves and a cap in the pipe. So in the future, if there's ever a need or an opportunity in a cost-effective manner to connect the water main to the south in collaboration with the city, that infrastructure is in place for future connection. So we received pricing, and it was a premium of $25,000 to $30,000 on a $240,000 project. So we understood that it's a good investment. If the time ever came and that was a need to rerun the whole line, the whole property, it would be a lot more cost-effective to take advantage now with really no downside other than spending a little bit of a premium of nice insurance or investment for that future tie-in. So the logistics of it would be tie into Pittsford as normally done, same path, same everything, it's just a bigger pipe. They're actually gonna drill underneath the parking lot, directional drill it, get it to the building, replace everything up to the building. We also have a little bit more, we have about a 15% contingency, we usually ask for 10. The only unknown is that when we get to the building, Mr. Roberts from the maintenance department was just concerned if that pipe at the building is not in good shape. We want to make sure that we don't latch onto a bad pipe. So if there's additional scope to get it fully into the building, so to avoid future things, we don't want to just latch onto something that's an immediate problem. So the recommendation you have here is for $255,000 to recommend D'Angelo Brothers to install that alternate, which is a 8-inch pipe routed underneath. There's going to be a T there that right at, if you guys know, right in the middle of the property, there's two parking lots that meet, so it'll be capped off there. If we ever do work in the southern portion of that parking lot, which is on the radar in the next few years, we could take that opportunity then to continue south in coordination with the city if they have an opportunity to tie those two water mains in to do it at that point. So price was right in budget. We had 3 bidders, very smooth process. We give credit to Spalding Dedeck, our engineer. It was with all the meetings with the city to try and figure out logistics, we gave them a very short window to turn around a design package, get it on the street and bid, and it was flawless. So we got here a little bit late with our recommendation documents, but everything came in smooth, and we're sitting in a good spot right now to complete this over the summer.
Yeah, I think it's a forward-thinking option. So although we've decided at this time not to go any further than replacing what we currently have, we are set up if the city comes back and in the future decides to extend their line and attach it to ours, we can do that. And certainly at the increase, we were at 185 and we're at 220. So for that $35,000, we think it is well worth preparing for the future. If we had to go back in and replace it, that would be a much more costly option in the future, one we may not do. So this really sets us up for success and also uses a local company, which is also a positive.
And just to reiterate, we're not making anything, we're making everything exactly how it was now as the base bid. It'll be an improvement to have that second redundant feed if we can ever latch onto it. So just making clear, we didn't make anything worse. It's an equal to what is now and with hope to make it better in the future if there's an opportunity.
Okay. Questions, comments? Okay, this one will go on the regular
Yes, please,
agenda.
thank you.
Okay, and President Burton, that concludes operations.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mr.
very
Green,
much.
Mr.
Thank you
Weber.
very much.
Appreciate you being here.
Yep.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Take care.
You
Thank
too. The next item on our agenda is item 4, the Division of Instruction, and I'll turn it over to Mrs. Bradford.
Thank you, President Burton. This evening, we have a couple items on our agenda, and the first item, our friends are coming over, Mr. Etu and Mrs. Sproul. We're gonna talk about the 26-27 cooperative agreements. Hello.
Hello. We are so happy tonight to come and tell you about our cooperative agreements that we have both for the Livonia Transition Program and for our Career Tech Center. So both of these programs are very unique. They have offerings that go well above and beyond what you would find in a traditional high school or post-secondary program. And part of the beauty of these programs is that we are able to open them up to some of our neighboring school districts to help fill some of the additional spots that we might have available. So in the Career Tech Centers instance, we have somewhere between 17 and 20 students right now that are attending LCTC. First of all, our Livonia students are placed prior to opening that up to any community cooperative agreements to have students attend there. So that is a smaller cooperative agreement, but the district does collect a portion of the allocation for each of those students to attend the program as well. In addition to that, you know I love talking about the Livonia Transition Program, so I'm going to take an opportunity to brag on our wonderful staff and students there for a minute as well. So as you know, the Livonia Transition Program is intended for students with disabilities who are between ages of 18 and 26, where they continue their education and gain those skills for independent living and job readiness and just being part of our community. So I'm going to highlight some of the job sites that we have right now. As you know, and I know you've visited some of these sites before yourselves, we have satellite classrooms at Ward Church, Contoros, Embassy Suites, and Trinity Health, where students spend part of their day every day working and learning at those job sites. In addition to that, we have job sites at Laurel Park Mall, at both Marriott and Olga's. So students are getting those on-the-job training opportunities there. We go to Cedarbrook Senior Living. We go to Meyer, Goodwill Industries, and our newest addition is Ford Livonia Transmission Plant. So that is wonderful, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that one. Also some independent sites, so where students go totally on their own, are Bigby, Victory Toyota, Big Boy, Granite City, our own Early Childhood Center, and the Garfield Co-op Preschool. So students get opportunities there every day. So Ford Transmission, as I mentioned, is new. It's always so exciting for us to break into some of our larger business partners in the area. And at the Ford Transmission plant, our students work together with Envita Solutions, who is the word has escaped me. I am so sorry. It is a partner of Ford's, where they do a lot of recycling and getting the work floor ready for the workers at Ford. They do things with the mats underneath where it's collecting oil, so they'll recycle that. They put it through a centrifuge and get it ready for the next round. So such exciting work. Great to know. Our wonderful outcomes this past year, we've had students employed by Victory Honda, Trinity Health, Cedarbrook, Embassy Suites. Contoros has 2 part-timers that still come to school part-time and also work there. And Ward Church has employed one of our students as well. So that's all wonderful news. As I know you all love to celebrate our students, our graduation is coming up on June 1st. We're expecting somewhere between 4 and 6 students to exit that program with a certificate of completion, which means out of the 60 students that we have right now, 54-ish students will be returning next year. But we have a large class coming up next year. So we're looking at large for LTP. We're looking at about 83 students next year. So that is an increase from this current year. So out of those 83 students, 49 are our Livonia students, and we have 34 students that will be joining us through a cooperative agreement. So what I'm bringing to you tonight is the proposal for a continuation of that cooperative agreement. We work together with Northville, Garden City, Romulus, Redford Union, Van Buren, South Redford, and Crestwood. So they recommend students to us. We have a staff member that goes out and meets with the team, meets the student to make sure it's a student that we can truly support, and then they send their student to us for the whole day. They provide transportation from that sending district, and then once the students are with us, then our transportation helps get them to their job sites as well. So that's a large number. Again, we always make sure that we can have space for our Livonia students first, But the wonderful thing about having a larger program is that we have more opportunities. We couldn't offer all of those job sites if we only had our 30 or 40 students. So by increasing that size, we're really able to increase opportunities for all students. So our cooperative agreement, as I know you have seen in the past, says that we get the per pupil funding for a student, and then there's an additional charge to a district as well, because our program is very expensive to run. Our staff to student ratio is very low in order to create this kind of environment that has results. So we are looking at a 5% increase in that fee for this coming year, which it's been a number of years since we increased the price at all. So, Mr. Ito and I have these cooperative agreements this evening that we're bringing to you, and hope that you see the value like we do as well.
And if I could circle back to the Career Center real quick, the cooperative agreements that we typically have are with Northville, Plymouth Canton, Wayne Westland, and Plymouth Christian Academy. In recent years, almost all out-of-district students that attend the Career Center are from Northville at this point in time. We also have a cooperative agreement with Wayne Westland and their skills center for their firefighting and EMT program, so we do send students to them as well.
All right. Any questions or comments? President Burton.
The LTP program, with the expansion, was that by design because we all of a sudden had a lot more folks interested in employing our students, or we just had a higher number of students wanting to get in? I mean, how did we jump that percentage of students that quickly? I'm thrilled that we did, but I'd just like to
Yeah.
know a little bit more about how that growth happened.
So the majority of that growth is coming out of Churchill High School. So we have a really large senior class this year. So most of the students are coming from Churchill and moving into LTP.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's just, they're moving on at that time, they're
Yep.
going through their 12th grade year. So,
Absolutely.
okay.
We do have several students that are coming in from other districts, but the majority are from Churchill.
Okay, excellent, terrific, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mrs. Bradford. With regard to the LCTC, my recollection is that Livonia students are taking up more and more of those seats.
They are.
Is that right?
Yeah, the last 3 years, we've seen an increase in that enrollment, and right now, I spoke to Ms. Gray just last week, and I think we're pretty close to 1,000 students that are requesting seats from LPS to LCTC. So we have wait lists in a number of programs at this point in time. So
That's
why-
outstanding.
Yeah, that's why we'll see the out-of-district enrollment probably around 20 for next year.
Wow.
For the availability.
Wow, that's great.
It's outstanding.
I'm just glad our students are taking advantage of
They
it.
are.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yep, and we're seeing more in terms of taking more than one class at the Career Center as well. So 4 of their 6 hours are at the Career Center, between the Career Intern Program, Skilled Trades Program, and taking the second level courses that are available there.
Awesome. Very good.
Outstanding. Thank you,
Okay.
Mrs. Bradford.
Thank you. Okay, that finishes that item up. Thank you.
A question, can we put that on consent?
Oh, thank you, yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Request that.
sure, yes. Do you want to
Thank
put
you.
that on consent?
I'm fine with
Yeah,
that.
good
that's an
with it.
annual item.
Yeah. All right, consent.
Thank you
Thank you
much.
both.
Consent agenda it is. All right, we're gonna move on to item 4B, art education textbook purchase, and, oh, Mrs. O'Brien, hello.
Good evening.
Good
How are you?
evening.
Announce that you're gonna teach art this year? That would probably not be a good thing, unless stick figures is a strong art curriculum. So I don't think so. But Michelle Morton is our CAL. She leads our secondary art teachers. And as you know, we've done textbook and resources for many of our core classes, our AP classes. And so this year I had reached out to elective area leaders for them to look at the resources that they use and see if any of them have recommendations for updates. So our art teachers, just like all of our teachers, meet in their district PLTs on each one of our PD days. And Ms. Morton worked with the teachers and have a recommendation for 2 books for middle school art. They're both 712 art books, so they want to start using them at middle school for the courses that we offer, and then possibly ask us for more copies of them if they utilize them. As you know, in art, you're not spending a lot of time in a textbook or utilizing a resource, but their books were quite old. And so they did the work this year as a committee of teachers, and they are recommending 2 books, Exploring Visual Design and Experiencing Art. They are both from the same publisher, Davis Art, and they are going to start with utilizing the digital resource and teachers' guides, and then if they need classroom or building sets of books for kids to utilize. They just didn't feel like they'd be in the books as often, and a digital platform they could dip in and out, and kids could more easily do that from home. This purchase is does not reach the threshold that it needs to be voted on next week. It is $19,369.55. So this would come out of our secondary textbook budget. But I wanted to bring it to you so that I kept you in the loop of the content areas that we are continuing to work on. Mr. Van Ham is looking at possibly an online music platform, and they're going to talk about it. Some of the schools utilize it. They're going to talk at the April 23rd Professional Development Day, and so next month I might be bringing something for the music department.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments?
No.
No, that's great.
Thrilled.
Okay, and we won't see this on the regular agenda.
Right.
Nope.
Oh, great,
Thank
thanks so
you.
much. Okay, and that concludes Division of Instruction Committee.
this worked out well.
Turning it back over.
Alrighty, we'll move on to item number 5, the Finance Committee. Mrs. Acosta?
As far as I can tell, there are no items to discuss this evening.
We do not. Next month, we will begin the process of discussing our budget recommendations for fiscal year '27, but nothing this month.
Thank
Alrighty.
you.
Thank you. On to item number 6, the Board Policy Committee. Mrs. Frank?
Thank you so much. And we have several different policies that we're going to update today, and you're ready for us. Mrs. O'Brien's going to walk us through the first one.
I am.
Policy ICC.
ICC, Instructional Program Research and Pilot Studies. This policy was last reviewed in 2014, and I'll be honest, I have some administrative procedures that hadn't been looked at, so then in digging into administrative procedures, I went back and reviewed some of the policies. So we have some policies and administrative procedure pairs, and then we have some singles. So research and policy studies, I just made some small tweaks to what was already there. Specifically, in the second paragraph, the Board of Education encourages the professional staff to participate in research studies that carefully assess the program to identify improved instructional opportunities for students. Such improvements should relate to the changes in their interests and needs as reflected in college and career readiness. And then the last paragraph, I just took the first sentence off and changed the last sentence just to say studies which significantly diverge from or exceed such curricular and instructional limits. Proposals will be developed and transmitted for approval by the superintendent prior to implementation. And it probably should be superintendent or is there a designee?
Okay. Any questions on that policy ICC? Mrs. Burton, President Burton.
I have just a few suggestions, just grammatical type suggestions. In the very first paragraph, first line, the word if, I would like to change to in order for, because I would hope that it's not an if that we're going to keep our education up to date. So that it would read, the Board of Education recognizes that in order for the educational program, and then strike the word is. So it would read, the Board of Education recognizes that in order for the educational program to maintain necessary relevance to the rapidly changing society which it serves, et cetera. So that it is, we are doing it, rather than if we decide to keep up with the times, basically.
Agreed.
My other suggestion is in the second paragraph, in your red, where it says participate in research, I would like to add and pilot studies so that it's consistent with your title.
Okay, that's good.
And then the last sentence, I would like to add the word either in or for before the word studies, and flip it, the order around just a bit so that it reads, for studies which significantly diverge from or exceed curricular and instructional limits, proposals will be developed and either submitted or transmitted. I think submitted sounds better, but developed and submitted to the superintendent or his or her designee for approval prior to implementation. So just kind of flipping the order of some of that around. Would you like me to read that again?
Let me try and see if I got what you,
Okay.
so for studies which significantly diverge from or exceed such curricular and instructional limits, proposals will be developed and submitted to the superintendent or his or her designee prior to,
For
for
approval.
approval prior to implementation.
The only other thing is, do we need the word such? Because such kind of implies that it's referring to the sentence before, but we struck that whole sentence.
Okay. Studies which significantly diverge from or exceed curricular instructional limits, proposals will be developed and submitted to the superintendent or his or her designee for approval prior to implementation.
Anything else? Teresa, can you just, can you give me an example of this?
Yeah. So, teachers who are doing a research project as a part of their doctoral study. Universities have reached out to me and asked, could they do a study? It's usually surveying, so they're looking for a group of students or parents or teachers to survey as a part of their research study.
Okay.
So they have to reach out to this building and request permission. And so it's typically academic. Have you had any?
No, it's primarily university students that reach out. They usually cast a very wide net to multiple districts.
Yes.
Asking for permission. We really generally do not allow access to our students.
No.
We may to our staff if we think that the survey results could potentially benefit the district as well as the person. It's not that we don't want to support folks in their doctoral studies, but we're cognizant of the amount we would place on our own staff to respond. But periodically we do participate, especially if it's in support of one of our colleagues here who is completing a study. But there is a process to go through to ensure that we are comfortable with the surveys that are being provided, that all names and any identifying factors are kept private, and that the survey is shared, survey results are shared in aggregate as opposed to any individual respondents. So
Got it. So we're not,
those are some of the things we look at.
sorry, so we're not asking anybody to do research studies. This is basic, for the most part, when people ask us.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, anything else? No. Okay. Do you want to go over the administrative procedures?
So I made a few changes. I didn't know if you had any feedback on the administrative procedures. So these were quite old. And so I worked with other administrators and just made some changes to the first part of the considerations in order to have a research or pilot study. So studies for outside sources which are conducted by a staff member as a part of their graduate studies within his or her own building are subject to the approval by the principal and their director. So I just kind of worked that around, and that was really the only change that we felt didn't fit what we currently do as practice.
I think actually, up here, I think we got permission in one of those studies, right? When we were doing our specialist? Yeah, we had to follow the pilot study.
I am myself, Crystal.
Yes,
Assistant.
Mrs. Frank?
Yes, thank you for going. Assistant Superintendent for Instruction, in B and C is not the title, right? Assistant Sup,
That is Mrs. Keats' title, so it was somebody's title also in 1990, so I felt I didn't need to change that.
great, thank you. Okay, perfect. Thank you. You're welcome. Sorry, Mrs. Keith. Okay, moving on to IDAA.
So IDAA is Career Technical Education, and we have reviewed this recently, but in working with Mrs. Gray on the administrative procedures, again, that were quite old, she wanted to request that we add the inclusivity to access to career technical classes. So I'm just going to read the whole paragraph. So the school district shall offer high school students opportunities to take career technical education CTE courses. The district is dedicated to fostering an inclusive environment where every student has the opportunity to thrive and succeed in CTE pathways. Enrollment in CTE programs is open to all students based on program availability, FTE, and student interest. We actively support participation and success for all learners, regardless of race, color, national origin, ethnicity, gender, age, disability, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, language proficiency, or family background. English language learners and students receiving special education services, there's a space missing, are fully supported and will not encounter barriers to enrollment or achievement in any CTE program. So in her leadership of the Career Technical Center and meetings she's gone to, many of them have this statement as a part of what they do, and she, in doing this board policy work, asked that we add this to her CTE board policy. Yes.
Mrs. Oquist.
Thank you. I would like to suggest that in the final red sentence, that the end of it would say, will not encounter barriers to enrollment or participation. Because achievement, we can't necessarily ensure that for any student. So although certainly that's what we strive for and we support, I think maybe would not encounter barriers to enrollment or participation.
And that fits what is up above, too.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
And then also in the first sentence, we do not need the apostrophe after the
Students.
S, after high school students.
Was that yours, Madeline? Yeah. Anything else?
I think it's a great add.
Yeah.
To the policy.
For sure. Mrs. President Burton.
I have just a question in the middle. FTE, exactly what does that, I mean, I know what FTE means, but how does it fit with what we're talking about here? And why is it placed there?
So it was placed as she and I was working, so that's the program availability, so the
staffing.
The staffing. But, so I don't think it has to be there. It could just be based on program availability.
You could say on program availability, comma, staffing, comma, and student interest. You don't need another comma.
I think staffing would probably be clearer.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
Sometimes those are hard to fill positions, and so even though we may have interest and we may be able to provide the program, sometimes finding the staff ready to roll on that can be a challenge.
And then I have a couple other quick things.
Sure.
In the red section, the
Yes.
first, the district, that district needs to be capitalized.
Okay.
And then end of the third line in red where it says we actively support, it really should be the district actively support. Oh, sorry. Well, it should be the district.
Actively supports.
Well, hang on a second. And then in this red section, we've kind of flipped between we will and we are.
Okay.
So to keep it consistent, there are a few changes. I mean, and policy is usually written as we will statements, you know, we shall or we will. So to keep it consistent across the board, let me see here. In the third line of your red, enrollment in CTE programs is open. I would suggest that we change is to will be.
Okay.
So it will be open to all students.
Does that sound like that's future as opposed to that it currently is?
Well, that's the thing, is if you read through this, because my brain kept flipping back and forth reading through this whole paragraph, reading through the whole policy, because we are flipping between what we are doing and what we will be doing. But policy is generally written what we will do. And administrative procedures is how we are doing it. Because like we're flipping back and forth between what we will do and what we are doing, all in the same paragraph. So what I'm suggesting is that we just change that so that what we will as a district do in providing this program. And therefore change the present tense are to the will be.
So the district, so where,
So what we're saying is, because this is the, in essence, the board directing what will happen. Let me just read it through with a few of those changes in it. The school district shall offer high school students opportunities to take career technical education, or CTE courses. The district is dedicated to fostering an inclusive environment where every student has the opportunity to thrive and succeed in CTE pathways. Enrollment in CTE programs will be open to all students based on program availability, staffing, and student interest. The district will actively support participation and success for all learners regardless of race, color, national origin, ethnicity, gender, age, disability, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, language proficiency, or family background. English language learners and students receiving special education services will be fully supported and will not encounter barriers to enrollment or participation in any CTE program. Does that make sense?
but then you're going from is to will be. I feel like that is, because then you're saying the district is dedicated to fostering inclusive and it has the opportunity to thrive. But then you're saying we will be open to all students.
Generally, what the policy is this is the belief that the board has, and therefore these are the actions that we will take.
To me, when
I'm not gonna die on that hill, but
Yeah.
those are my suggestions.
I was gonna say, to me, the only word that seems out of place is the shall. Everything
Yeah,
else
that's-
seems
Yeah,
to
now-
flow
yeah.
except for that
So we
word.
took out shall, didn't we, in a lot of our stuff? I thought we put in the district will.
I can live with either one.
So in the first sentence,
the
now
first
take
sentence.
shall out and keep it will, and then it's much more aligned.
I just
Is
felt
that-
like that was the only thing
Oh, yeah.
that was like,
Yeah, and then we can keep
the
everything
rewritten
else. Do you
piece
wanna keep
seemed
it the wills,
cohesive.
or do you
I,
want?
I can change shall to will, that's fine. I do really think in the last red sentence, the English language learners and students receiving special education services will be fully supported and will not encounter barriers to enrollment. I think that's important,
Yeah.
that the board is directing that we will support such students, and they are not to encounter barriers. I can live with it either way, but that's my 2 cents.
I think
Other
that's
thoughts?
fine, will be.
Mm-hmm, that's fine.
I'm good with it.
I do
Mark?
have,
I'll
I
make
do.
those changes for next week.
Do you have a
Mark?
question,
And,
Mark?
yes, if we're going to stay consistent, then in the first sentence where it says school district, the beginning of the second sentence, it says the district. So should it be the district in both, or should we add school?
Oh, I see, in the first black.
Right.
The first paragraph, period, that's,
Should we just change that to the district?
yep.
Or should it be the Board of Education in the first one? Sometimes, so the last one we just did was the Board of Education.
I think it's the district.
Okay,
I would drop school and capitalize district.
okay.
Anything else on that one? IDAA? Okay, moving on to administrative procedures.
So the administrative procedures are the following 2 pages, and they are mostly focused on our auto shop and our home construction. So made just the changes of, we don't call it vocational education, which we changed that in the board policy the last time we reviewed this. Change the alignment in the administrative procedures to the Michigan Department of Education, Career and Technical Education Standards and Perkins Core Performance. CTE programs are designed to provide career-ready learning opportunities. Students are empowered to explore their interests and achieve their personal, educational, and career goals. change career tech in the second paragraph, and the Michigan Department of Education. Then I asked Mrs. Gray about our policy for auto shops, and that does still stand. How we service cars in our auto shops, and then in how our administrative procedures for our home construction trades. We just added, instead of signing a liability waiver by the customer, we actually work with the City of Livonia Housing Commission when we are building houses. So those were current changes.
Mrs. O'Quist.
Under auto shops, the second sentence has a couple of all those. I think we can perhaps get rid of the first one and just start with the cars of students, staff members, and occasionally others may provide the vehicles to be serviced or repaired, and although supervision of students shall be given by a certified instructor, no liability shall be accepted by school personnel or students for any damage to cars while being moved to or from the auto shop or as a result of work done in the shop. That's just it's a long sentence, and I don't know if we want to say something along the lines of, starting with the first part, the cars of students, staff members, and occasional others may, it sounds odd, may provide the vehicles, may have their vehicles serviced or repaired, period. And then start with, although supervision of students shall be given by a certified instructor, so on and so forth. 'Cause that's a pretty lengthy sentence there.
So period after repaired and start with capital although?
Yes. And I don't know if we need to delineate while being moved to or from, or as a result of work done at the shop. It could be, while the vehicle is, under maintenance and repair or something along that line. And then the last part is the final line there where it says, any service or fee schedule for services must be approved in advance by the office of the superintendent. We should probably add or designee. And then office and superintendents should both be capitalized.
Anything else on IDAA? Mr. Johnson?
Just to follow up on Mrs. O'Quist, that second sentence you said was a little cumbersome. What if we said, because we interchange cars and vehicles, instead of saying although the cars, why don't we just start with vehicles of student, staff members, and occasionally others may be provided for service or repair? For service and repair, and although student, and then you can go on from there. I think that smooths that sentence out a little bit.
Vehicles of students, staff members, and occasionally others may be serviced or repaired.
May be provided for service or repair.
Service or repaired.
Or just repair. Say, take out the ED on both and just to be provided for service or repair.
Okay.
Teresa, this is what I have. There's just a couple of.
Yes, Mrs. Burton. President Burton.
At the beginning of the first and the second paragraph, career spelling needs to be changed.
Oh, yes, it does.
We all looked at that.
And then back in the first paragraph, technical needs to be capitalized, so career technical education are all three capitalized.
Thank you.
Well, and career has to be redone.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's amazing, you can look right at the word.
it
Oh, yeah.
is,
and
it
look
is.
right over it. And then in the first paragraph, the red sentence, I would suggest that we move empowered to before students so that it reads, CTE programs are designed to provide career-ready learning opportunities, comma, empower students to explore their interests and achieve their personal, educational, and career goals.
Love it.
That's it.
anything else on IDA?
I was just gonna say in general, as we go through and update policies, if we can update spacing, because that changed from 2 spaces to 1 space after a sentence.
Yes.
Thank you.
So do you only do one?
Yes.
Ever?
Yeah.
I always do two still. Okay, great. Moving on to did I skip? IDDF, we have the
Nope, that's the next.
administrative procedures, but not the board policy?
Correct.
Okay.
I had given you the board policy just so that you could see it. And then I worked on the administrative procedures, that changing the title from online learning to virtual courses, and rewrote this one. So districts shall provide opportunities for eligible pupils to enroll in virtual courses. A virtual course, formerly online instructional program, is a course of study that generates a grade or credit and is provided in an interactive, internet-connected learning environment where pupils are separated from their teacher by time, location, or both. The district will provide a mentor to monitor the student's progress, facilitate two-way communication for pupil accounting purposes, and serve as the student's local advocate. Instructional responsibility. A Michigan certified teacher, the instructor of record, is responsible for the primary instruction, including diagnosing individual learning needs and prescribing interventions, assessing students' mastery of the Michigan Merit Curriculum, providing regular timely feedback, and reporting final outcomes.
Any questions on that?
You just need the in front of
It's
district.
just
at the start of
an
the-
observation. The original date on this is June 20th, 1988.
I know, isn't that
Did we
interesting?
actually have virtual online learning back then?
We must have, or it wouldn't
Well, I
have.
think
Yeah,
your
I'm just trying-
definition maybe of online might have been different. I don't know.
That's the only thing I can think of, because, I mean, my concept of
When was the
online
World Wide
learning
Web?
is
Right,
internet stuff.
exactly.
not-
Yeah.
I also wonder if it was reviewed at a later time
And I
and
might
maybe
be-
not added
yeah,
because it was
maybe
an
I'm missing the
administrative
review
procedure.
Maybe they just left it, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes more
I'm gonna
sense.
assume that that was the case.
That makes a lot of sense, Mr. Johnson.
President Burton?
I would suggest that, right before your red sentence begins, that we just add the word "the," so it's the district.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
All right, moving right along to IDG.
Adult education. So this policy, I just rewrote what had been there, so it is from 2014. And I wrote classes to support the completion of a high school diploma through credit recovery and high school equivalency prep for a GED, and courses for acquiring English and personal math skills may be offered based on budget constraints.
Any thoughts?
You might want to say something like, district budget conditions.
It's not constraints, right?
Budget conditions. Andre's up. District budget.
Or just based on the budget, based on district budget?
Based on
Mrs.
the
Burton,
district.
Go
President
ahead,
Burton, do you
finish
have
your-
this?
No, finish your budget talk first.
Based on the
Not-
district budget.
Conditions,
It could be, yeah.
Based on the district budget, yep.
Yeah, I would say based on the district.
Then you don't have to say anything about its
Right.
condition.
Right.
yes,
Okay?
because even if, yeah. Yes, President Burton.
That Mrs. Mrs. for a long time for you.
It's so funny, I think of it 8 seconds after I've said it.
Hey, that's no problem. I would just, I would add to the beginning of this, start out your sentence with "the district may offer." So it starts off with what we're going to do. The district may offer classes to support the completion of a high school diploma. And I would omit that comma, because we're talking about, I had to read that a couple times to make sure I understood. We're talking about supporting the high school diploma through credit recovery, right? Okay, well then we need to,
Keep it together.
Yep, skip that comma. So it says, so it would read, the district may offer classes to support the completion of a high school diploma through credit recovery, comma, and then omit that "and," because we got two
Okay,
ands, go
got
ahead.
it. High school
through
equivalent.
high school equivalency prep for a GED, comma, and courses for acquiring English, I would add language,
Okay.
and courses for acquiring English language and personal math skills, skip may be offered, based on the budget. Because we've put the district may offer at the beginning.
You are correct. So the district may offer classes to support the completion of a high school diploma through credit recovery, high school equivalency prep for a GED, and courses for acquiring English language and personal math skills based on the district budget.
Yes,
Nice.
like it.
Teresa, is it, credit recovery, I thought that was for current students, or can you get that after you've graduated, credit
Can-
recovery?
yes. So like our fifth year
If you leave.
students
Okay, okay,
who are short.
okay. Anything else?
I just have a
Yes.
question. You guys, does anybody still like the beginning of believes that learning is a continuous process? I don't know. I thought that was kind of a nice, the Board of Ed believes that learning is a continuous process and that adult education, well, I guess that base is based on, I don't know, I just like that first sentence as a beginning. And then the district offers classes to support the completion. To me, it makes it seem a little better than just the district offers classes to support, but I don't know. Something along the lines.
I had the same thought,
But-
but I wondered if the ending of that sentence would make us responsible to provide that. That was where my concern came in, and that was wondering,
okay.
I wondered if that's why you may have struck that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep, because we're responsible to provide K-12.
Gotcha.
And now,
Okay,
and
that
we had,
makes
we had
sense.
our,
Oh, good, okay.
we had
yeah.
our pre-K and our post-secondary for our special education students.
Okay,
um,
perfect, that
but-
makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
perfect. Anything else on those? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Ran through lots of those for us tonight. Thank you, Ms.
That was a
Silverman.
lot, thank you
Yes,
very
yes.
much.
And that concludes board policy.
Thank you. Next item is item 7, Human Resources. Mr. McFarland.
It does not appear we have anything on the agenda for tonight.
We do not.
That's right. We will. And number 8 is legislative. Mrs. Jarvis is not here, so Mrs. Acosta. Whoops,
Sorry,
that's okay.
sorry, we were talking about the.
That's okay, we're gonna let Mrs.
Mrs.
Acosta catch up with us here.
Yes.
That's a lot of,
Superintendent Oquist, we're not bringing IDDF to the, right, that's just administrative procedure.
That's correct.
So A, B, and D.
And D.
Go, okay.
Yep.
Yes, for first reading.
Okay, perfect.
okay.
Thank you. No, that's
And then we're down to our legislative committee. Mrs. Jarvis is not here this evening, so I'll turn it over to Mrs. Acosta.
Mrs. Oquist, do we have anything for
We
this
do not.
evening? That concludes legislative. Thank you.
That's one of the shortest committee of the whole meetings I can remember in a really long time.
Exactly.
Yes, no kidding.
Yes.
Alrighty, thank you so much for being with us this evening. We wish you a nice evening, and we will see you next week. We are now adjourned.